Well, g'day everyone. Welcome once again to No Guts, No Glory, number 2 podcast for us, Ben. So, how's the first? It was a good first date.
It's a great first date.
It was a good first date. We're not rooting just yet.
Well,
but yeah, it's we're here for a second date. So it's good. That's what. No, man. So the first one worked out all right, man. This was fun. So,
it was good.
Second of our series, and. Yeah, man. So here we are talking about business and music and setting up and the stuff that people go through running their own business in music and just go wherever it goes. And we got our Gmail up now, haven't we?
Yeah, Gmail's up. So No Guts, No Glory podcast at gmail.com. The Instagram, No Guts, No Glory podcast, and Facebook, No Guts, No Glory podcast. Yeah, if anyone has specific questions or anything, they can send them through to that, and we'll do our best to kind of answer them, have the discussion about it, try to shine some light on any of it. Yeah.
Whatever light we got.
That's it.
You know, and remember, anything that we offer here is just our own subjective view. No one's suggesting it's just...
Yeah.
No one's going to tell you it's foolproof in everything that we do, because, see, here's the thing, everyone's situation, circumstances do differ. I mean, there's some things or themes or, you know, we could talk about things that should at least be worth trying if they haven't tried different things, but nothing's ever foolproof, man.
Yep, definitely. And I think even there's a lot of things, a lot of parallels with what you just said in running a business. There's no kind of right, here's our perfect formula for a winning business that we're going to open as soon as it's done. But a lot of the time, the wrong answer is by not doing anything. So, you know, a lot of people go, oh, is it right or wrong to do this? And, you know, debating it and not doing it, I think is the wrong answer. When you can go in, the worst that happens is, oh, fuck, I did something, I learned from it, and I'm going to make an adjustment and do it again, rather than just the contemplating of, oh, should I...
Unless you're disarming a bomb.
Well, that's that. In which case...
Sorry, mate, didn't miss. But no, you're right. You're right. Lots of talk around doing things, lots of measuring and due diligence is great, and doing your homework is great. But the thing is that we all want to be certain in what we do, because we crave that. That thing. It's got to be safe, secure. We want to know that what we're doing is going to work, because we don't want to avoid any potential shitfalls and what have you, and which is normal. But the thing is, you're not going to go through life continually fucking hitting success and safety and safety and safety and safety. You know, it's that really good metaphor that my mentor Peter Sage talks about, which I love this metaphor of going through the journey of life. And the people that are most successful are the ones who will be willing and accepting of there's uncertainty in life. It's going to happen, and that and more importantly, they're okay with it. Just not apathetic. I don't care, but just okay, just accepting it. Just going. There's just certain things I know, like gravity, right? Yep. Just accept it. Don't fight it. It'll beat you every time. That kind of thing. Okay. Yep. So, so he talks about your life as a chessboard, and the black squares would represent the challenges and the shit things in life, and the white things represent all the good stuff and the success and all the fucking juju, right? He said, so if your life is from one corner being born and then dying at the other corner at the 84th square, where, you know, you would always, you could step across and always step into the fucking white squares, right? Logic would tell you that. But that's not reality, right? In the same way, it doesn't always happen with the dark. So he's saying, you know, what if you threw a blanket over there and then said, okay, now fucking walk across it? You got 50-50 chance, right? Yeah. It's cool. Not going to be all fucking bad or all fucking good. So knowing that, just fucking walk it. Yep. You know, just walk it.
Yep.
So
that's cool. That's a cool way of thinking about it.
Yeah, yeah. So
I like it.
So if we think about going ahead in what we're doing, think about be dutiful, be careful, be measured. Don't be stupid. You know, don't try and, you know, go into a fucking McLaren dealership with $20 in your pocket and think you're going to walk out of there, you know. But if you do, let me know.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? So you kind of know your limits.
Yep. No, that's a cool point. I think there's a lot of artists, I think, I'll draw back that mainly because that's just what we see being in music industry. But there's a lot of artists that stop themselves back or hold themselves back. And I guess in that analogy is, you know, fear of stepping onto the dark square, fear of going to something that's not good, whether that's fear of putting out something and, you know, your peers don't think it's good, fear of putting out something and, you know, your friends don't think it's good. There's a fear around putting out things, which I just see it's stopping you progressing. Like the whole notion of progression over perfection. Like although you may be stepping onto a dark square and you think, oh damn, this wasn't where I was meant to go. By stepping on the square, you're going to know, all right, my next step's got to be different. Like that's showing you the boundaries, what not to do. That's almost putting in the barriers to, oh, okay, sweet, you got a little bit off the mark here, but that's going to bring you back in the long run. And I guess part of it is just having the kind of mindset to be able to see the whole chessboard for what it is, a collection of light and dark squares, and it's not just, oh, whatever square I step onto next, that's the be-all and end-all. Yeah. So I guess just being able to step back and go, cool, you know, I mean, and that's in life. Life and business have their ups, they have their downs, they have their uncertainty. Being able to just step back and see in the bigger picture of, cool, all right, this period might suck, but it's going to change. Like there's a wave coming. If you keep doing the good thing, keep being positive, keep looking for clients, keep being active, keep doing all this. There might be tough times, but it'll change. It'll get there. And that's just, I guess, with obviously going through it, you know, the more and more you go through it and you see it, you can start to pick up patterns. But just having that little bit of you know, mindset to be able to step back and go, cool, what's the bigger picture here? You know, am I stressing about, actually I heard a cool thing someone told me a few years ago where they go, if you're stressing about something or if anything's eating on you, if it's really hanging on you and you can't shake this, whatever it is, just kind of take a breath and go, cool, is this going to affect me in 5 years? Is it that big? Like, is this something that could pivot my life and in 5 years I'll feel ramifications of it? If not, maybe it's not that big a deal. Yeah. Like, are you just making a big deal out of something because you feel you need to have this emotion, or you've got to show people I'm busy, or man, if I'm frustrated and angry, then that means a bit like, are we doing these things to cause the emotions, or, you know, are we able to step back and just go, cool, what's the big picture? How crucial is this thing really? Let's move on about it in a mature way to get to the next step. Yeah.
Guess that depends on where you're at any given point in time, but yes, you're absolutely right in what you're saying about the uncertainties that exist and the fact that you're going to always have to deal with that. And the other thing too, man, is that's why people got to really think clearly about why they're getting into what they're doing, because when they're not very clear about it, it's when everyone can go through good times, but when times go shit, that's when you're really going to know, oh, do I really want to be doing this? Am I really? And then why am I in it? And, you know, why do I persevere with it? No, I don't know anyone that hasn't gone through really tough times. And people that like to tell you that everything's fucking perfect, God bless them. I honestly hope that every time I hear that, that's the case. But the probability is that it isn't. And, you know, one of the things about this podcast, man, is that we'll be fucking talking about shit that's, you know, a lot about my failings and where I went wrong, because that's where my real lessons were. My black squares were the lessons.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what, you know, at the time I couldn't see that, and I still struggle sometimes bringing the awareness around to, okay, what's going on, because black squares can be anything from at one day to a time that expands a few months.
Yep.
You know, it varies, you know, with each
definitely
with each person. But sometimes when you're in those longer periods of black square, it can almost seem like, yeah, but just got to remind myself, hang on a minute, what's the message here? What's life trying to tell me here? What am I not getting? You know, what I'm not getting.
What do I need to learn to get through this to get to the next level?
Because two things are happening when you're having challenge, stress. It's when your life is either saying you're ready for this, or it's the repetition of something you haven't quite got. So, you know, it's someone who, like, for example, there's no such thing as a sudden heart attack. Most people that have even people that may have a genetic predisposition are going to have had some lifestyle, other things contributing to create that, right? Yep. So it's the same thing with us, mate. We're this gradual thing. It's not an overnight in, out,
definitely
done kind of thing. Yeah.
Yep. And I'm the same. Most of my black squares, that's where I've learned stuff.
Sorry, I just blew a kiss off to my partner. Sorry, I couldn't.
No, you're good.
Yeah, when you're married to a hottie like me, it's
well, you got to give the people what they want, don't you?
It's hard. It's hard.
But yeah, most of the, like for myself as well, those black squares, that's where you learn the lessons.
Yeah. What do you reckon has been your? I mean, I'm sure there are many, but what do you reckon to date's been one of the ones that has really fucking stuck with you like dog shit to a shoe?
There's probably two really big fucking turning points. They were the car crash that I was in 2011, and then the producer who was through here, who just brought all sorts of fucking trouble and drugs and fucking bullshit through here, just kind of getting really taken advantage of through him. We had stuff fucking stolen from the studio. He did it to a lot of people. And that really, you know, that was one where you get kicked in the teeth and you're like, fuck, okay, you really go back and do some evaluating. And to be honest, that one was hard not to, I guess, blame yourself for it. But I think there's a sense, something I've taken away from it was that you shouldn't stop trying to be a nice person because someone else has taken advantage of you. You know, that's a reflection on them and their actions more so than you. And I think that's something that I've spoken with a few people about, because it's hard if you do genuinely want to help people and you want to help artists and people that you come with because you want to see other people succeed, and then someone takes advantage of you, or a group of people take advantage. It's easy to want to retreat back into a shell, or, you know, just not be as positive or as outgoing with your time or resources.
So what was your lesson? So what was your lesson through all that? Getting fucked over.
Trust your instincts.
Yeah.
Trust you. And a lot of the people I spoke with them, we had an inkling of things, and it was our instincts told us that, but our mind tried to convince us it was worth it. Like, I just opened the studios. He was a multi-platinum producer at the time, so my thing was like, cool, this is going to help me generate eyes over here. This is going to get me going. I had a feel like I had a feeling that it was very much of how long can you hold your breath for. Like, there was something coming at the end, but the longer you could hold your breath, or the longer I could hold my breath before it coming out, I just saw it as I was learning. And at the time I was learning heaps from everyone around us. But yeah, I think trusting your instincts on that one is a good one. And then the big one that I took out of the car crash, which for those listening, so I used to build wind turbines. I was an electrician doing fly-in, fly-out work for 4 years. Then was involved in a car crash, which had me move back to Melbourne and lost my job. It was a work car. And the big one of that was, at the time, that just ripped the carpet from under me. Like that, in my head, I was going to do that job for the next fucking 10 years. So that was very much being pulled out of a comfortable situation and have everything that you know stripped from you, and having to rebuild yourself up again wasn't easy, but it showed me that, one, it's possible, and two, it's worth it. And so that's a big one, just in terms of when I feel it's like, oh, is it too late, or I'm already in this? Is it, you know, fuck, could have everything pulled from you, start again tomorrow, and guess what? In 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, you're gonna be able to rebuild yourself. There'll be people, you know, you might lose relationships or stuff in the short term, but in the big picture, in the macro schemes of things, like you can rebuild stuff. Doesn't matter if you've. There's no reason for a shitty start to result in a bad ending. I guess.
Yeah, I agree. Fuck yeah, man. Big lessons.
Yeah.
Instinct's a big one.
Instinct's a big one.
Instincts are huge, man. Because that's where we fuck up so often, because we don't listen to our inner voice. And we're always fucking, like, again, it's that certainty addiction. We're like, oh, let's us go and so. And yeah, because we are such conformists that we want to feel like we're on, you know, I mean, there is a, you know, conformity, you know, threshold where everything tips over, where everyone conforms, you know, after a certain amount of numbers get involved. You know, I forget what the exact numbers were. Maybe it's 95%. I think 95%. But shit, man, we are creatures of conformity. And so when it comes to advice, we want to make sure that all the people we've asked, everyone's in the same, okay, we say certainty, not trusting in. As you know, I wrote up this thing today where I said advice is confirmation to the answer you already know, but you just deep down, your instinct, yes, your brain, no, right?
Yep.
And that's how we fall into the. But no, that's definitely a big one.
And even just on that, like, I very intentionally work with females through here, whether that's Raya or having Mama Lisa in the PR. Like those sort of women around here are tuned in and listened to their intuition. And even that, we had a business decision that I made off the back of two females and their intuition, their gut feeling about a particular person. Basically, I trust what they said, and I pulled the pin on it. No, it wasn't not in a negative way. There was no hard feelings or anything between that part. It was just, cool, this client's not for me. But that was off the back of them. There's something odd about this. And I go, cool, done.
Well, your radar just becomes more acute the more. But that's how you learn. I mean, that's a life thing, right? Someone comes in, you don't listen to intuition, you get fucked over a little bit. Someone else, completely different, but the same characteristics, or you're going to have your instinct tested with something, and then something, until such time, and it just gets escalating until eventually. So, and that's why now you're feeling you're more in tune with it. Now you're like,
yep. And there's even, and that being said, like, obviously, do your due diligence. There's no reason to go out and blindly do shit off a fucking feeling. But I even know there's been times in my life when my intuition has just been 180 degrees off. Like, there's been people come into my life who, the first time I met them, I had this strong sense of, I didn't really like them, or there was just something about it that I didn't like, or just something, a feeling about it. And then 2 months later, 3 months later, so me and this person are just fucking best friends, hit it off, great relation, and things have been great fucking since. But there's been about 2 or 3 times in my life when the first time I met someone, my first thought is, oh, I'm not going to be friends with the person, or we don't get on, there won't be much. Like, that's my kind of feeling. And then like 2 months later or so, I've found myself just being like, fuck, I was really wrong about that one.
Yeah.
So that's why I am, you follow your instinct, do your due diligence. Yeah. But it's like fucking friends and greatness and artists that you work with, and these things can come from anywhere. So just being open to that. Yeah.
Absolutely. Here's something to fucking fuck with your head. Imagine actually listening to your intuition. Your intuition takes you to something that's really fucked. Like fucked.
Yep.
Right? But that actually was the right, that was the right thing, and that's what had to happen.
Correct.
Imagine that.
I believe that.
Yeah.
Even through
those... Just to fuck with you a bit,
I believe that 100%.
Yeah.
Like those two, the car accident and then having that producer through here, like, I met Mama Lisa, who's played a huge role in my life through him. Raya, who I now run a label with, met her through that. For me to grow to be the person that I am now, whether that's in a personal sense, a creative sense, or a business sense, you've got to go through things. You have to go through challenges to overcome them, to learn what you're doing, to learn what you do wrong, to better yourself, to be a better person. You have to go through some shit. It's like, takes shit to grow a rose. A lot of people want to go to heaven, but no one wants to die.
Yeah, I don't need to die. I'm in heaven now.
Fucking great
I'm
attitude.
in my own fucking heaven now, dude. I'm making a hell of a heaven while I'm here. Yes, mate. Fucking, you got a very old head on young shoulders there, young Bennett.
I don't know if that's true. I think life experience. To be honest, I put it down to two things. I'm in my 20s.
Yeah, right, okay.
Yeah, still in my 20s for a little bit.
In your 20s? Yeah, that's good. It's good.
Well, I put it down to two things. I mean, my parents. My mum, really.
Your mum's fucking awesome.
Yeah,
your dad's just, he's fucking sensational.
Yeah, like I put it down, when we lived in the States.
Are you sure they was?
We haven't had any biological tests, but who knows, really?
I'm just messing, man. Your dad's got the best sense of humour. He's got a great sense of humour. He's dry, and he's fucking smart, dude.
Oh, the dude's smart, ridiculously smart. Yeah.
If you're going to go into a trivia competition, your old boy, he's your boy. Oh, yeah. That's it.
In one segment, a podcast that would be fucking hilarious would just be to sit down, get fucking drunk, and ask Paulo questions. They just go, Paulo, what was Lawrence of Arabia? What you do? And he just rattle off in fucking so-and-so. Me and Clarky used to do that. We just sit there and ask Paulo questions. Just ask him shit and he'll fucking know it. It's bizarre. It's fucked up how clever he is.
Paulo, by the way, is what they call Ben's dad.
Yeah.
And your mum's amazing. She's like, what? She's about 4 foot nothing, about 20 kilos wringing wet. Got the energy, and she's the energy. She's just non-stop. She's just fucking, and cooks up like just such an Italian mama. Let me tell you, just smorgas. Like can feed 1,000 people in like fucking 10 minutes flat. Hop it on one leg. Cop that bitch.
Yeah, and I mean their fucking attitude, like So from her coming as an immigrant, going from housing commissions, working her up to everything she's done now, like that attitude and that work ethic was, put into me at a young age. And I really see it any positive shit that I do, anything good, any success I get in business or in the industry, I just see it as me executing out on good fucking parenting, really. Any of the bad shit, anything
Good
I
start.
fuck up, that's on me. But yeah, that and fortunately, it takes disaster to learn a lesson. So, making fuck ups is fine, but I've learned from them, which is the important thing.
Yeah, I've learned from mine, but I also haven't learned from mine too. Because I've been the classic fucking slow learner, man. I'm getting better, but
I think you are. Well, what about some of yours?
Nah, sorry.
So what about some of your learning lessons through disasters?
Man, well, I think through life disasters, mate. Well, mine actually aren't so much. Well, in the business sense, I don't know if I've had any fundamental fuck ups other than business sort of almost losing a business, but that was due to a divorce situation. So, but I think when it comes to the main ingredient, to be successful at it, is really about people, about looking after people, looking after clients. Those who are working, with you, whether you're employing them or you're creating, like you're creating space and you've got freelancers here. You how you but everyone, everyone, but in business certainly, it's the relationship economy is what we're here for, what we're doing, man. And so it's all about building trust, confidence in people. That's why people I've heard people say things like, "Oh fuck, I'm fucking better than them, and why they're more successful," and there's probably several reasons for that. But when I hear people say things like that, I know that straight away they don't have the right. Personality type. They're blaming themselves, whereas I think people that do well, whether they realise it or not, they don't start blaming. They don't fucking carry on. They just fucking get on with it, and they create the relationships, and they know what people. Not pissing in people's pocket and artificially promising things and shit like that. I'm just talking about just generally fucking when you're dealing with them, they know that you matter to them and you're invested in them, and they're not just the fucking. Then another fucking BMW fucking
just another number payment. In line.
And exactly. They're not a nameless, faceless fucking shit there. And this is why one of the things I encourage people to do, like particularly like ones who are starting out, right? And they say, "Oh fuck, it's so hard. How am I going to get new clients? How am I going to go about or what have you?" And the first thing is as you start getting any inquiry at all, whatever, just go balls out for this person, and by that I mean not lay down and be a doormat, but I'm talking about give them a level of service that they're probably not used to, which is get back their emails quickly, ask them questions, find out what they, make it. Like when I get, and again, this is not me patting myself on the back, I'm just sharing something that works and hopefully it can work for others, right? I mean, there's no secrets here and there's no, no one's got the exclusive rights to all this shit. But one of the things I noticed that really has helped me in my business is making sure that I'm keeping some communication with clients, also being really fucking brutally honest with your clients. For example, if they send you something and deep down they're not going to get value if you take a project knowing full well you're not really going to be giving them fucking don't do it, even though it's tempting sometimes because the money's there and everyone can subjectively make that sound better. That sound better than this subjectively when two people hear it. But when that final product goes out in the marketplace, mate, you don't have any fucking place to go, "Oh, hang on a minute, let me explain this to you."
Nope.
Now, people may not like it because of their taste, but even people that have different tastes, I think there's a certain line where people would agree something not quite right here.
Yep.
At best. Okay. Yep. So knowing that, and you kind of know where that line is. It's not like it's a get out the fucking get out the fucking dash cam and fucking have a look here. When you know that, then you just don't fucking do it.
Yep.
Right. And it may not fucking win you money initially, but when you build trust with people,
definitely.
The amount of people that fucking get back to me, man, years later. Hey, I don't know if you remember us. We did a record. You didn't you said you couldn't do it for this reason. We really appreciated that. Well, I'm in a new band now, and now we got fucking money.
Yeah. Definitely. And that's just building brand over short-term sales tactics.
Yeah. So, so the lesson of the relationships and having good relationships, really, taking care of our people, and just good, good ethics and whatever. And also just being...
but even that one, sorry to jump in though, that one that you mentioned of continuing to talk to clients during the process, maintaining a level of communication to them.
Yeah.
That's for anyone in the music industry, that's a huge one, because there's so many people who don't do it well, that it's very easy to make a good impression on clients and artists by that. And it can just as simple of calling the artist going, hey man, just giving you an update. We're just rolling onto that mix, sounding fucking dope. We'll have a first revision to you by tomorrow. Instead of just sending the email tomorrow, just that call. Hey man, just keeping you posted. We got that mix. It's sounding fucking dope, dude. It'll be in your box by close of business tomorrow. Perfect. And that makes people like, fuck, they're thinking about me. Cool. I'm on their mind. I'm actually a priority.
People like that. People like that, especially when they can't be present, which quite a lot of sessions these days, at least for me, are. I mean, you got people in here, I don't often, and I miss it actually, having people in the studio. It's one of the great things of it. It's a relationship, but, being with the artists and hanging out and talking with them and getting to know more about them. It's all part of that process. So while you're making their record, you're getting to know people. You understand them on a deeper level, whether it's musically, artistically, just personally. And so now I still have attended sessions and probably do about, I don't know, I reckon 50% is probably about at best.
Really? When the band's not there, they just can't make it?
Well, there's also stuff. There's also bands that are sending stuff from overseas interstate.
Oh yeah, of course.
But quite often, a lot of bands, if they've worked with you before, they've come once, they don't come again, or maybe there's just one song, and just for them to travel from Pakenham or from Geelong. I mean, there are those that do, and I welcome them, but there's a lot of unattended stuff now because it's just more a matter of convenience.
Yep.
But I encourage people to come in on the sessions so they can see what goes on.
Yeah. And even just to go in just for, change of space, just to see what it's like to be in a fucking studio like that. And you're like, a lot of time, that re-sparks that fucking, that spark where you're like, fuck, this is why we do it again,
Yeah, well, I mean, that's one of the things about my end of it is there's still, even with the internet and forums and so much information out there, more so than ever before, there's still a lot of stuff that people misunderstand about mastering and what it does, what we can do, what we can't do, and exactly what it is and all that sort of stuff, and what things you need to bear in mind with them when you want to do when you want to master tracks and stuff. It's just there's not a lot of, I keep saying this all the time, but it's true. There is no real prestige or major profile to be had in mastering. If you get involved in this caper because you think you're going to become a household name, fucking forget about it. It's never going to happen. Well, it's not beyond the realm of possibility, but if that is why you're going in, just don't bother. Just because you won't realise that you just won't. You won't last long enough to get to the front fucking door, let alone to the end of the street.
Yeah.
Nah. And that's why most of the mastering guys I know are all, I mean, they're all different, but they're usually pretty laid-back characters, they're cool, man. They're cool.
So walk us through, who'd you learn mastering from? What was that journey?
Well,
did you start off?
The guy who taught me how to cut vinyl.
Did you start off wanting to master? Or did
no.
You
Well, fucking no one knows what it is now. I mean, not back in 1980s. Not fucking. It was a very different time. I mean, I didn't even know what fucking mastering was at that time. I mean, I was an avid collector of records, and I used to see occasionally the odd credit mastered by da-da-da. Saw the title, saw the credit, never gave it much thought. Other than just every now and again I'd see it. Rarely though.
Yep.
And anyway, so when I went to New York and sort of bummed around, I got to meet a mastering guy, and because I'd been doing stuff with vinyl, and I said, I was in Australia, I was DJing, and he said, "Are you a DJ? Hey, how would you like to make your own records?" To which I thought,
Why not?
What's that? You know, he said, he said, I was mastering. I said, I've seen it before. And then he explained. He said, tried to explain to me. He said, cut the lacquers to the vinyl. I said, so I went and checked out his setup, and it was just like, fuck, this is amazing. And I love the simplicity of it. And the kicker was, and he was one of saying, he said, look, man, everyone wants to track, everyone wants to mix, and everyone wants to produce. Fucking these records need to be mastered. It was an industry that was coming, that the whole independent mastering global situation we have right now. It was back in the way back then. It was mastering was kind of done mainly. All the record companies had their own in-house type stuff, and there weren't that many independent mastering houses, I think Doug Sachs was the first guy that set up independent, and then your Bernie Grumman's of the world, who've been in 50 plus years and, around, real pioneers. But mate, it was a different era. And so even in 1981, 82, people weren't fucking wanting to become mastering engineers because they didn't really know it.
Yeah.
So that's why I always tell people mastering found me, not the other way around. And for me, because when it was explained that, well, you can kind of learn how to do this pretty quick and then become, a junior engineer real fast, or you can sort of go back to where you came from, stay there for 2 years fucking being a gopher. Your assistant engineers, it's going to be a few years before you become an assistant, let alone if you ever become a fucking the in-house guy. So I think about that, and I was straight. It was a no-brainer. It was like, fuck, man, I just want to fucking do something in music that I love doing. This sounds fucking grouse. Let's do this.
Yep.
And that was it. I was happy. That was it. That's all I motivated. That's all I needed. That was all. That was, didn't think about money. Didn't think about profile. I mean, I always thought that working in music would be cool in terms of trying to pull women and stuff. Although what I realised that any luck with the ladies was not because I was in the music industry. It was more because I was Australian, But again, it just makes a mistake of what you perceive to be what other people think.
Yeah,
quite often doesn't work out that way.
Yep.
But that's how that's what kind of happened, man. And yeah, so here we are, still fucking
and
here
we are. And how long ago was that? So that was 81, 82. You're in New York.
Yeah. I first landed there. Yeah, 81.
So 30 odd years mastering.
So yeah,
40. My maths is probably pretty fucking bad.
Well, I mean, as an actual look, really, as a freelancer on my own, because the first 10 odd years was just really just learning here and there, never, and being able to do bits and bobs, but never really, not actually have grasped it and went with it. So really, that all began as far as opening up my own place, and here I am doing it and making a fist of it. 1991.
Cool.
91.
Nice.
So,
I was 1 year old.
Huh?
I was 1 year old.
There you go. So I've been out for 20-something years in here. So, yeah, man, years have flown. Things have changed so much.
I can only imagine.
So much. But compared to, like, when I look back, it's funny looking back at old photos of shit we'd work with and how much you'd pay for the technology. Like, my first computer I got was an Apple IIFX, and it had a massive 500 megabyte hard drive, massive internal. Had a floppy drive, 16. A CD-ROM drive, playback, just 2 times playback speed, CD-ROM drive, and I think it was about 8 meg of RAM. That was about it. Yeah, seriously, it was 8 meg of RAM. That was it. And then the introduction of the first external hard drive, first SCSI drive, which was 1 terabyte. A gigabyte.
A gig, yeah.
A gig. What am I talking about? A gig.
Yeah.
A gig. And remember getting this, it was like $2,500 back in 1996 or something.
Yeah, right.
And this thing was like heavy. I thought, I'll never fill this up. No, never.
Yep.
And now
crazy,
look at it
isn't
now. You got like 2 terabyte drives the size of your thumb.
Yep.
Where the fuck that come from? That's science fiction shit, man.
Which makes me think, what is, like, this data, it's fucking nothing. It's literally nothing that these technology companies are charging us to down. Data is, what is it? It's like technology air. It's It's fucking everywhere.
Yeah.
It's like it's
Same thing. Same thing was said about electricity.
yeah.
Right. If you go on fucking what Tesla says we can have for free. So based on that, oh yeah, man, that's where all the best ideas and especially think about whoever thought up insurance. What a fucking genius that person was, mate. All that fucking non-tangible, conceptual stuff. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
fucking genius. It is. It's like, here's some fucking shares to, here's an acre on the moon. Here's a deed. You know what I mean? Like, Pet Rocks. Who was the guy that came with, remember Pet Rock? Who came with Pet Rocks?
Yep.
I'm showing my age here, but fuck, still. It's
Probably made $1 million off it.
Oh, and the rest.
Yeah.
And the rest, man. But just those ideas that come from nothing and literally are. They're just concepts and thoughts and ideas.
Yep.
It's fucking genius.
And
they're assholes, but they're geniuses.
Yep. But I guess, in even looking back now on how much you know about running a business and how much it takes, because one thing I hear a lot from people who don't run their own business but maybe have thought about it or they watch fucking videos online and they've got an opinion.
Yeah.
They all want this and there's a sense of this, what's this fucking next get quick rich scheme? What's this next? Like it's all this, what's this big, the next fucking Pet Rock or whatever. They're all looking for this. When my thinking of it now is like, obviously you haven't seen the hours needed to make a business successful, to get it up and running, the constant ongoing maintenance to everything, whether it's your procedures, keeping it fucking compliant with the ATO, all the other fucking bullshit. So that if I didn't really fucking love Pet Rocks, I'm not fucking going to be looking for that. Like it's kind of like the backwards thinking. Like it's the reverse of what a lot of people think, that it's they go out looking for this or thinking that there's this magic fucking spike and when in reality it's what everyone knows and thinks. It's hard work, long hours, put it in, do it around something that you love so that you actually enjoy that time there. But there's still I think a disconnect in what a lot of people still think there's this magic this internet is going to create this magic business and it's booming overnight. It's like all the fundamentals are the same. They haven't changed. Yeah, but it's funny to hear people's perception on it and how they think about it. Like the internet, like, if I just get this one fad, if I had the next slime, I'll be rich. It's like, you're missing the point. You're putting the horse before the cart.
Those kind of things seemingly like overnight, but they're not. I mean, maybe there have been some companies that have literally grown so, incredibly overnight,
But that's like the lotto.
But that didn't still come from nowhere. There was still a path and a journey leading up to that tipping point where it just went fucking bananas.
And those ones are so few and fair in between that's like fucking playing the lottery each week, your business plan to be a millionaire.
Oh, man, it's fuck the lottery. And even if you won the lottery, mate, where's the satisfaction in getting that? I can't speak from experience. I haven't won a lottery. But, if you do enough reading and you look into it, you look at people that become either obscenely wealthy, like overnight, like massive lottery winners, massive inheritance, fucking, your typical, your trust fund fucking kids and shit like that, those kind of situations, usually people end up broker than they started, or the money doesn't make them any better off. They're not any happier.
Yeah.
For it.
Money. Yeah. I can see that. Because I guess it's
nothing
not
wrong with having money and making it, but it's when it's unearned. It's not. Yeah. It's not. I don't know. Like I don't think I'd feel I could enjoy anything. It was just given to me.
Yeah.
And not a gift from someone's nice, but when everything in your life is fucking handed for you and done for you, and it's like royalty type. You need to be doing something to fucking feel like you.
Yeah. And I guess it also comes with what we were saying before, like by going through those fucking disasters and when life kicks you in the teeth, learning those lessons, getting back up. Once you go through them, whatever success that comes after that, you've got a value of it because you have to get fucking kicked in the teeth for it. You know how to make sure it stays there. You know how to look after that good position you've got yourself into. Yeah, if you just win the lottery, I guess because you haven't had to go about earning it or working for that success, you don't have the mindset it takes to create it. So therefore, I guess you could say they don't have the mindset to keep it.
Yeah, that's true too. That's very, very true too.
Because they don't and I mean, it's like kind of that book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It's kind of like people's understanding of money. If if you have a poor concept of money and you're constantly spending and stuff, like money loves structure. If you've got structure to it in your business, in your savings, money goes wherever there's structure. If you're constantly leaking out stuff and there's $50 here and you don't check this and this money drips out and it always flees away. It always finds a way to empty that fucking bucket. But if you've got structure around it, it's like why people invest in houses. There's structure there. There's, it can't go anywhere. Money loves structure. That's one thing I've learned. And I guess if you come into a big sum of money, whether it's through the lottery or fucking whatever it is, we see some of the huge sports contracts that people in the States get, and they go from literally being almost homeless to going in the pro draft or coming out of college and fucking having tens of millions of dollars deals, and then they're bankrupt because little did they know they weren't going to be a fucking wide receiver for the next 10 years. And then they're broke again. They've literally blown a fortune because they haven't had the mindset it takes going in to know how to hold on to it.
Yeah, and experience with them. Just what can prepare you for that. Although having said that, there are some people that handle that sort of shit. I mean, how people handle success is really can make the difference between whether they enjoy it or not as well. Because again, you got people that have been successful, but yeah, they're usually the most fucking miserable, and when they've been the most drug affected, and this real dichotomy going on.
Yep.
Again, the perception is fucking amazing. There's just hookers and coke and fucking bottles in the club, bottles in the club. You know what I mean? And all that sort of shit going on. But behind all the scenes, though, it's just and there's no shortage of DJs that I've spoken to say the same thing. There's this veneer of how fucking awesome it almost is. And it is, but it's like too much of anything, man. After a while, I can become. Yep. I love fucking lobster tails. If you have some spare ones, anyone wants to send them in. Love them. But after I don't know, 6 weeks of them.
Yeah, it's going to be the same.
I'm going to be looking for something different. Yep. Yeah. Maybe I wouldn't even last 6 weeks.
Yep.
Again, 2-3 days, and then it's like, okay.
Yeah.
I'll wait now.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because then I enjoy it even more.
Yep. And I guess it definitely makes it hard, especially when artists have commitments, especially if they've got lengthy tours. I heard a good quote a couple of weeks ago from artists about tour, and they're like, as an artist, it's your job, or as the entertainer, it's your job to make every night a Saturday night for the audience. If you're playing a Thursday night, your job is to make the audience is what's here to see the show. Your job's to give them a fucking Saturday night, which meant every day for you on tour is a fucking Sunday morning, and then that night's another Saturday night, and the cycle repeats. And then you mix that with booze, fucking drugs, with managers who
Loose women.
Managers who just enable this sort of behavior. They're usually the ones fucking supplying shit. There's just a lot of trapdoors, especially in the music industry, which makes it even more important for people to, I guess, be accountable for themselves and to really be whole with themselves, to know and love themselves, to not get caught into these spirals, because
well, it's true, but I think they're all the lessons. But for a lot of people, they don't. A lot of people don't get that until either it's too late or they got to hit some kind of rock bottom, or So, I think that when it comes to drugs and addiction and shit like that, the best thing I think to tell people is that, first of all, they've got to understand that they're not at fault and they're not bad people. They just haven't worked out a better way to cope with unresolved trauma that they're having. And ones who are addicted to drugs are probably more frowned upon than alcoholics, because alcoholics are just more respectable addicts, or cigarettes, cigarette smokers or what have you. Anything that's taxable and the government are fucking running the racket on, it's different. But for them to realise that, and also that there's always an out. There's always an out. It's not a life sentence. That's the problem. It's where people have an identity around things, and this is where I found AA. I went to an AA meeting with a friend just to find out more, and this is back when I was cool. I just wanted to go and check it out. I was, really trying to sort of get some public speaking opportunities up. You get to talk, I get to talk there and shit and whatnot. But again, this is me not bashing AA. I think AA and A, if it works for you, it's awesome. But the one thing that made me sort of go, my instinct, right, sort of spoke to me when they talked this whole big thing that they go on about, which is, my name's Jack and I'm a drug addict, I'm an alcoholic, whatever. Now, when I went to this place, I saw no less than 3 people go up and say, yeah, hello, my name's Keith and I'm an alcoholic. And they haven't had a drink for 40 fucking years, right? It's like, how the fuck can you keep in that identity of I am an addict, when you're not an addict, mate, because you haven't fucking taken any shit for 40 years.
You're through this.
Right? But yet this insistence of I am this fucking thing, it's like, it's such a powerful thing with how you identify. So when you say I'm an addict, I think initially to take the responsibility and go, okay, I fucked up.
Yep.
I'm addicted to this. I'm fucking struggling.
Yep.
I need some help.
Yep. Just recognizing.
Just the acceptance and taking the responsibility. Different.
Yep.
Right. But that's just then. Right. That's just the start point.
Yep.
And then after that, you don't need to identify that anymore. That's that's the big part of the problem.
Yeah.
So talking about the self-love, very, very important, but no one's going to get to that until they do all these other steps first. That's the end point they come to, But first to be told, nothing wrong with you. You're okay. It's not your fault. And then you just haven't worked out a better way to fucking deal with this. That's it. So, and taking away the punitive aspects of all of that. But everything you said, though, Ben, is absolutely right. And again, there's a lot of trapdoors in the industry, and again, it's like if you don't have your strength of character, or you're vulnerable, or you're insecure, or you're seeking, validation and acceptance and significance and certainty and all that, which is great and good and part of the needs that we have as part of the human condition. But it's when we rely on that. It's that whole classic, I'm going to sell my soul for this. When that's if you don't have the self-love or self-acceptance. Yep. Of just like, here I am, this is me, this is how I look, this is my good bits, this is my fucking, this is my bad habits. Yep. That's it. And being okay with that. Because you're always good at fucking being okay with everyone else's. Yeah. To a point.
Yep.
But for the most part, you know what I mean? Like,
no, there's some good point. And even on that, I think something that I've experienced is how a change in your physical looks can kind of go hand in hand with that identity. Like there was back when I was in the DYE was kind of at its like doing our best. I had dreads, smoked a lot of pot. That was very much of that character of DJ Marshall, had dreadlocks, smoked pot. And then when DYE and Otis High kind of started coming to an end after we did our last tour, because Matt, the other MC, he's the reason I got into music, really. Like, before him, I didn't even know what fucking Logic was, fucking how to plug in the mic. Didn't know anything. Yeah. Like, he showed me.
I still don't have any Logic, but anyhow.
Yeah. Well, he very much showed me everything I know and opened this door to me of here's the music industry. And I was just like, fuck, this is where I need to be. But then when he went off and just his priorities in life changed and music wasn't as heavy a priority as it was for me, there's this sense of, fuck, if I don't have this dude, my sidekick's not here. Like, he was the captain of the band and I just enabled us to do stuff. If I was there, then what the fuck does that make me? Like, that whole imposter syndrome sinks in and fuck, what am I actually doing in the industry? Can I actually contribute anything? And you go through that. And that was when I shaved off the dreads and brought the mohawk back, there was... Even though not much has really changed, there's just that by looking in the mirror and you see a different reflection, it kind of helps you get on path to change your identity. Because, again, nothing really drastically has changed, but just by that visual being different, there's that sense of, okay, let's move. There's a line in the sand now. We're past that. Let's move forward. Mm-hmm. Let's create this. Where are the holes? Where are the flaws in me? What do I need to build? Where are the dark zones that I need to turn some lights on and fucking find out some shit about myself? But it's, in my experience, it's funny how that can. And even after the stuff with the fucking producer went down in 2018, I went over to Mama's and she bleached my mohawk. Just by having a bleached mohawk, there was a sense of, okay, cool.
Yeah, this sense of wiping the slate and just putting a line in the sand. You're creating a division like this.
Yep.
This is a new phase, new step, new everything. Yeah.
And then you look back at
this
photos.
Mark, just put a marker here.
Draw the line. Cool, I'm a new person.
And for historical reasons, or it's like a time capsule type thing. Yeah. Nah, man. I think that's. I think it's a good approach, and I've never actually thought of it in those terms. I mean, I know that since being an obese guy to a not so obese guy, identity was a big part of it too. It's like I had to start thinking like I'm a healthy dude, I'm a vibrant person. Like what would they do? What's their day routine look like? How they live their life. I mean, because when you identify, the importance of identity is that when you identify a certain way, then you adopt behaviours that make you identifiable. With that, so someone who's really disciplined, will be looked by people as disciplined, when they see that that's a consistent, method.
Yes.
In the day to day, and there's certain non-negotiables and certain consistent things that are just there as a constant, and they're going to tell you more about that person's values and their identity. It's like if I say to you, I'm an elite athlete and I'm stuffing my fucking cake hole with chips and I'm sitting on the sofa, watching fucking, repeats till fucking 6 a.m. And smoking fucking fags and drinking piss and, you know what I mean? And I'm telling you, I'm an elite athlete. I can talk
maybe
that up.
Trying to tell yourself you're an elite athlete.
Or you're trying to, but but you're not buying it. But that's the thing either. So your identity is when your head and your heart are aligned, and your behaviours demonstrate that to people.
Correct. And that's the other thing. Like actions speak louder than words. Like so clearly on volumes. It's like at this point, like I almost don't really care what comes out of people's mouths. Like your actions will tell me your intent. Because there's just so many. I mean, the amount of times I've heard people say they're a perfectionist, there just isn't that many perfectionists in the world. Like there's just not.
And what's perfect for one isn't perfect for the other.
Correct.
But I think when I hear the term perfectionist, I think I don't think it's anyone that necessarily always gets perfectionists, that they just are constantly.
And I'll tell you, it's the people who are real perfectionists. If you've been around people who have that tick about them, they don't tell you that. They're almost ashamed at this OCD type condition where they just can't let something go. Because when you really can't let something go, it's not a matter of, I'm a perfectionist, so I work this track. It's, I can't fucking sleep. This thing's on my mind. This is what really, it's not normal. And but there's and that's just an example.
Give me, like, where do you see the line of where someone's being that perfectionist? Well, give me an example of something that, where you see that that makes you go, fuck, dude, perfectionist. Okay.
Where have I seen it? Some guys I used to work with, but more or less with artists, there's
like, what would they do? Like, what would a perfection, like what something a perfectionist? So what is something that a perfectionist would do that would make you, if you saw someone you never met, what would be something? We talked about identity and behaviour. What was something that they would do that you reckon is?
Complete inability to change their attention from a certain subject unless they're competent with what it's done. And when I say competent, I mean that's to a very high level, or the highest level they could possibly do it. And this isn't they can do it and then stop it. It's the inability to change their attention from something. And it's literally like they won't be able to sleep, won't be able to do it until that is done and in the way that they need it to be done, right or wrong, whether you think it's the best way for that. Unless that's done the right way that they need it to be done, they can't sleep. They won't be able to think about anything else. Eating's not. You don't need to eat. You've got to get this done. That mental, almost psychotic behavior of attachment to something that has got to be there. That's a perfectionist.
Wow. I'm glad I'm not a perfectionist.
Hey, correct. And a lot of people, but people have put this term on a fucking pedestal, like, I'm a perfectionist. Like, no, you're not. But it's a good thing, like, because it's unhealthy to go to that level. It's not normal.
Yeah.
But for some people just want to say,
I think pushing over the boundary, have a bit of a look every now and again is all right. But when you, anyway, look, man, each to their own. Here's the thing. That's their journey. That's their lesson. Maybe that's their lesson to learn how to fucking let go of control. Because the more the perfectionist classical, the more tightly they grip to something, the more intense the experience has to be. Because if they're not listening to life and they keep holding and holding and holding, life's just going to keep fucking giving them more and more fucking shit to fucking get their head so far up. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Not because it's that conspiracy to fuck them over. It's so when you're talking that level of perfection, I can understand why it's that intense to that level that you describe. You know, like I don't think I ever quite got to that level, but I do have some. You know, I do have a little OCD things myself. Cleaning, I'm the clean guy.
Yeah,
man. I'm talking to you, and then I see something on the carpet, and I'll fucking pick it up. You know, I see a dirty bench in the kitchen. I see dishes in the sink.
Just got to do it.
Well, you know, I want everyone to get it done, but if I see it, I don't like it. I just got to like, and if nothing else, man, I think it's more about. When like today, I caught up with this guy called Carl Anderson. Carl's a fucking mad producer. He's awesome. He just done the latest Honey Smack album. Anyway, he came over to finish off the record today, and he and just bought a few things to listen to. Was shooting the shit and talking and whatnot. And what we were talking about, mate, I just lost my trail of thought before I got onto Carl.
Oh my God! Was going through down perfectionist, and then
yeah. Well, you know, he was just playing me some stuff for people who are a bit like that, and it's just like, whatever.
Yeah, and me too. Talk about it. I think like you're better off getting a track to 95%. A lot of the time, people spend so much time and mental energy on those last 2 or 3%. When in the big scheme of things, it's not that fucking important.
I'll tell you a great story once, working with a band a while ago, and we were trying to do the fade on the song, okay? It was just a basic, pretty natural kind of decay, reverb. So we're just trying to tidy it up. Something that normally would take me 30 seconds on a bad day. We worked on this fade for half an hour with this band because do this, do that, hang on a minute, let's try that, let's try this. Now, thankfully I was getting paid all right money, but half an hour was my limit, I should say, guys. If the punters had decided that I want to buy it or download it, by the time they get to this point of the fade, then you don't need them.
Yeah, exactly right.
You know, but dude, it was like, you know, just like bands who, when it comes, I know order is important when you're going to do, especially an EP or an album and so, but I've had sessions where more time was spent and mind changing with the order of the album. Let's put this here, let's put that there, let's fade. Yeah, honestly, just like
I believe it.
Make up, you know. Anyway,
Yep.
but again, it's the majoring and the minor things, and yes, the devil's in the detail, but I think there's something to be said about, man, just fucking bang it out, and a good vibe.
Yep.
Everything else is just a nice embellishment. But if it's already great and it feels good and it captures your imagination, the rest is great and it's bonus. But if you're going to spend too much time in that, and you're ignoring that,
what's the real ROI there? What are what are you giving up? Where's the reward? Is it really worth it?
Yeah, you know. And look, some people, not everyone's going to agree. Like I said at the start of the podcast, mate, everything I'm saying here is not put out as we're right and you're wrong. Just sharing points of view. But yeah, mate, I think that this has been a very good podcast.
Yeah, I think that about wraps us up. That's been a good one. And again, anyone who's got any questions or stuff they want us to touch on or talk about, No Guts, No Glory podcast at gmail.com, Facebook or Instagram. Yeah, just send us a DM.
Sorry, mate.
No, jump in.
Anything to do with setting up studio, setting up, moving to the next level, moving from just anything around that. You know, if you, even if it's not your full time and it's something that you want to look at becoming a full time thing, or something that you can do in conjunction with a little side hustle. You know, whatever level, it doesn't matter. You know, it's just
if you're thinking about taking the plunge, or it's kind of something you've thought about. Send in what you think your concerns are. Yeah. Guess we can fucking go through the concerns and the ups and downs that we've gone through in it.
Yep. And whether it's music related or not music related, that's fine too, because quite often a lot of shit we talk about has a relevance and crossover anyway. So, all right, beautiful.
Done.
All right, Ben. That was awesome, man. Thanks for having me out.
My
Down here
man,
again.
not a problem.
Always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. And we'll be back again next week.
Next week.
Beautiful.
All right. Sayonara.
Peace.